Okay, guys, chapter 21, section 1. And this is actually again consistent with what we studied before. You will see throughout the lesson how there are lots of things that are related to what we studied before. Not only the previous session, but also the previous term in term 1 as well. Guys, here we're talking about the absolute monarchy or the absolutism or the age of absolutism, 1500, 1800. But it doesn't mean if you read that it started in 15 and finished in 1800 that it was over. It is still found today. Absolute monarchy. First of all, who can tell me what is absolute monarchy? What is a monarch? First of all, king. Okay, king. Monarchy is a king. Monarch is a king, and sometimes it refers to queen as well. A monarch can be a queen. Yeah, exactly. It can be used also for females. Anyway, guys, the word absolute monarch is when you have a ruler who is acting as a dictator. The one and the only one, the one who can control every aspect of his life, of his citizen's life. He can control every aspect of his economy, everything in the country. Nobody is even able to challenge him. Yes, Mr. In one country, in one country, for sure. Like, for example, the same as you can give me an example about today's country, who is still functioning as a dictatorship. Yes? North Korea, bravo, okay, North Korea. There's only one person who rules over, who does whatever he wants. Nobody is even allowed to challenge or dare or criticize or talk about anything. Now, what will happen? What will be the consequence if you challenge your absolute monarch?
Execution.
You might be in jail, you might be executed, you might be tortured, you might be exiled, whatever. Now, absolute rulers, again, officially are defined are the people who control all the aspects of society within their country. Their abuse of power will inspire calls for democratic government through the world. Now, through this kind of abuse of power, this will inspire people to rebel against the dictatorship or the tyranny that is being practiced against them by one world. Now, we're still in the introduction of the whole chapter. We are not yet in section 1. Okay, guys, we have 5 sections here to study. We have section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't know actually if we have enough time to finish them all because we are in week 6 now. We still have 2 more teaching weeks before the final exam. So we're nearly crossing actually half of the term. Guys, we're going to start, as you can see here, Spain, France, Central Europe, Russia, and then UK, which means that we're going from Western Europe to Eastern Europe and then going back to the West. Look at the map. We're going to start with Spain, then France, Central Europe, Russia, so from West to East, then back to the West. Who can tell me why do we have to start with Spain? Why not, for example, with Central Europe? Why not with Russia? Yes?
Because Spain was.
Sure. What do you mean by timeline? Okay, so yeah, that could be right because actually Spain was the first one who started. Previous lesson, previous chapter, age of discovery, age of exploration. You're right. So they grow wealthier than anybody else before because they were the first actually to get some benefits from the Latin American colonies. Alright, guys. Last slide before we start our section 1. It's about why do we have to study about something that started in the 1500s? For so many reasons. As we just said now, and we're going to give an example about North Africa, we still have this form of dictatorship or this form of absolute monarchies where the ruler is taking over all the aspects of life, the Mr. First. Now, another reason is the experiences of the British under the monarchical system greatly influenced the framework of the US Constitution. Today, when we talk about USA, you all know that in history, we talk usually about thousands and millions of years. USA as a country was established formally speaking in 1776, which is in history is a recent country. It's not a country that has deep roots in the history. Now, who established USA, guys?
George Washington.
Who established USA? Who were actually the people who were there and that established data on USA? Europeans, mainly from England, exactly. So the story says that those immigrants or waves of immigrants from England went to the new land, America. then they were working and sending their money to England. Then because the English government at that time imposed heavy taxes on them, so they refused to pay the tax, and there was a war between English people, English settlers who settled in America, against their own government. They won and separated and declared independence and established USA, because they were originally from England, mainly Europeans, but the majority were from England. This is why USA now officially speak English. Now, because they established a country that is independent and they wanted to make a constitution for their country, so coming from England, they actually copied the principles of the English constitution that was already established during this period of time. This constitution that is still functioning till today, but for sure with lots of amendments throughout the history. Now, to this date, to the date actually, UK is governed by a constitutional monarchy, a form of government that was emerged at that time during this period. What do you mean by monarchy? Constitutional monarchy.
There is a parliament and
Exactly. Exactly. So we still have a monarchy in the sense that England is a kingdom. So we have a queen. But does she have the actual political power?
No.
Who has the actual
The
power?
Prime Minister.
Well, the Prime Minister is an elected person. Right? So it's constitutional because the highest position, which is the leader of the government, is elected according to the constitution and elected for few years, whatever, 4 to 5 years, whatever. And then we still also keep the monarchy because we still have a queen. Number 3, absolutism formed the backdrop of some of the key events that later known as European, actually very important European history, like the French Revolution, that later became the basis for the human rights and the freedoms actually of all other revolutions that took place later. Knowledge of European history is the key to understanding pivotal events of the 20th century, such as World War I and World War II. These two major events that changed the history of the world, changed the map of the world as well, were actually traced back to this age. We're going to talk about it later. Now, many historians consider the Soviet dictatorship at that time, okay, was also the main step actually for today's system of government in Russia. Because a lot of Western countries refer to Russia nowadays as still kind of dictatorship. No, not communist, but still dictatorship. Now, let's start section 1. Section 1 is about Spain, and as we said, because Spain was the first country that started the age of discovery, and therefore they were the first to be wealthy because of the wealth they got from the new land. Yes?
Who found Spain?
Who found Spain?
Spain is an old country.
It's a very old country. So Europe is an old country. It's an old country. You cannot say who found it. There were already people living there. But then later, on by time, they just took like part from here, invaded part from there. And they just formed actually. Oh, no, people who were living there, natives. Yes. So you can't, for example, say who founded, for example, Ottoman Empire. People who were just living there around this. Anyway, guys, see here, guys. Please. Let's start from the story when Spain was not even a unified land. There were two lands actually. One land led by Queen Isabella, and one land was led by King Ferdinand. Now, and part of their land were already attacked by the Muslims at that time, the Ottomans. Small shot, please. Those people met and decided to marry. They married and they unified both lands, and they fought together against the Muslims and they drove them out of their land. Later on, they died, inheriting their throne to their son, Charles V.
Oh, this one, yes.
There is always this very nice saying in English language, he was born with a golden spoon in his mouth, which means that when he was born actually, and he found everything is his own. Like rich, good land, big land, whatever, full of resources. So look at this guy. Charles V was one of the strongest kings at that time, in the sense that Spain was the only European country that had a similar power to the Ottomans, who were the strongest at that time. Now, Charles was not responsible for Spain as we know it today. So when we talk today about Spain, it wasn't the same as we know it today, like, you know, as a border from here with Portugal and border from there with France. No, it was a big land, very vast land. This is why Charles was always referred as the king of the Habsburg, because the Habsburg family had their authority over a big span of land, which is the land of Spain today, in addition to the land of the Spanish colonies in Latin America, in addition to part of Italy, part of Austria, Netherlands, and much of what is today Germany. Just imagine all this land was part of Spain. It never happened in history. It was the first time in history, in European history, that a ruler controlled this very broad land. Now, unfortunately, this Charles V decided to quit political life and go for a monastery. Do you know what is a monastery?
Yes.
Sure, a monastery.
What is it? Like
What is a popular?
what is it?
Alright.
That's like a religious.
Exactly. It's like a religious school for Christians who, like anybody who wants to be a monk, he will go to this school. يسموها بالعربي الدير، بيروح على الدير وخلص بيعتزل الحياة. So he will just isolate himself in this dare or this school, and he will become a religious person. So when he quit, his son, Philip II, got inherited not only what his father got inherited from his grandfather, but also he got inherited all the positions of the Portuguese as well. Because there was a habit at that time. You know, I'll just listen. In every European country, there was a royal family. And you know, you cannot find more than one royal family in a country, right? It's only one royal family. So if you are, like, for example, a member of the royal family, or let me say the king, then you have a daughter or a son. You are a king, your daughter is a princess, and your son is a prince. Nobody will allow an ordinary person from, like, marrying from his daughter if she's like, you know, a princess. So prince has to marry a princess, and the princess has to marry a prince. As long as there's only one royal family in every country, then who's going, logically speaking, to marry your son or daughter? A prince or a princess from another European country. By time, the new generation that is resulted from a royal family marriage with a royal family marriage resulted in blood relationships. Same like, for example, Sheikh Mohammed al-Rashidi is married from the sister of the King of Jordan. So now their daughter is the cousin of the daughters and the sons of some of the Jordanian princes. Right? So there is like a kind of blood relationship now between the two royal families. Right, Muhammad? Alright, listen to me carefully now. The king of the Portugal was also actually a relative. Actually, King Philip, Prince Philip of King Philip was the nephew of the king of the Portugal. When the king of the Portugal died without having an heir to throne, automatically King Philip got inherited all the Portuguese land and the Portuguese positions in Latin America. Now remember in term 1 and also what we said in chapter 2 when we talked about the Treaty of Tordesillas. When we said that there was a competition between these two countries, okay, and now it's only one person who takes everything for like these two countries. So just imagine how King Philip was very strong and very rich at that time. So if you look at, for example, just an example about his wealth, 339,000 pounds of gold, 16,000 tons of silver. In his reign, Spain became, no doubt, the richest and the strongest in the world. But he did a mistake. The mistake was, he was totally religious person. Totally devoted to, totally devoted to his sect in Christianity, which was Catholicism. Remember also what we said in term 1 when we talked about the problems between the Protestants and the Catholics. So as long as he was totally devoted to Catholicism and he was the ruler of the strongest and the richest country in the world, so he already projected himself, he recognized that he has to be the defender of Catholicism. Mainly, what makes it even like, more for him, better for him, is he got inspired by what his grandfather did to unify and fight under the name of Christianity. They fought the Muslims and they drove them out. So he got inspired. So he decided to fight the English. Because in England at that time, Protestantism was growing. So he decided to fight England. And that was his mistake. Because there is a great difference in wars between being a defender and being an attacker. Defender means you are still in your land. You know your land. Somebody else is coming to your land. Somebody else who is not familiar with your land. Exactly. You can trap him. You can do a lot of tricks. It is your land. You are aware. You are familiar with your land. And also, passing actually all this distance, you will be exhausted. Okay? Mind that UK is an island. So usually people get affected with the environment they live in, and therefore they become skillful with this environment. So they were very good sailors. Now, the Spanish lost, although they were considered the strongest and the richest, but they lost. Look at the comparison here. While the Spanish had 150 ships, the British had 200. Now you might tell me, all right, but the Spanish were richest, couldn't they buy or create more ships? Yes, but why do they need 200 ships? The UK needed ships because it's an island. Alright, number two, guns. 1,100. The British 2,000. Even their guns, by the way, they were like computer equivalent. The soldiers, okay, sailors. 27, 16. Why do you think the British needed only 16? Because they were defending, right? They were in their land. And because there wasn't a kind of direct clash between an English ship against a Spanish ship, so what was the result? 0 ship. Look, 70 ships was destroyed for the Spanish, while the English did not even have to use their ships because they were defending from their land. So there was no direct clash between ships from the both sides, and therefore 0 ship was damaged for the English. This heavy loss, okay, marked the beginning of the decline of this huge empire, the Spanish Empire. Look at this now. Now, forget about the war, forget about the decline. Okay, the golden age of Spain, this kind of being the richest, was also translated not only when it comes to military and money, but also on their arts and culture. I'm not going to focus a lot here. I'm just going to tell you names, some figures of the golden age, of the cultural golden age of Spain. Like when it comes to painters and artists, El Greco and Velázquez, they were very famous. I don't care for the techniques they used in drawing or painting because it would be more art than history. Alright, but they were famous. Look at, for example, when it comes to novels, they just come up with a very good novel at that time, Don Quixote or Don Quixote, according to the pronunciation, and it was done by one of the famous novelists at that time, Miguel de Cervantes. And the good thing about this, it was all a novel about somebody who was looking at the world at that time, 1600, when it was too much materialistic. So he was looking actually at the past when people were still simple and life was not totally dependent on money. Now the irony is, if at that time the world was projected as too much materialistic, so what about today, where money is nearly everything? But can anybody answer this question, guys? Why do you think at that time the world becomes materialistic? Why do you think at that time the world was projected as materialistic? Try to relate this question to the previous lesson. What was the policy we talked about last time that started to govern the whole world at that time?
More money, more power. More money, more gold.
More money, more power. Money is the source of power. Do you remember the policy of mercantilism?
Yes.
Alright. So, yeah, on. Okay, now guys. Shh. With more money, based on the principle of mercantilism, with more money in the hand of people, same as we explained last time. So more people have more money to buy more, which means that the demand is becoming high, more than the supply. Alright? Nice sentence, right? The demand is becoming high, more than the supply. Alright. See guys, with more demand than the supply, what will happen to the prices? Up. What will happen to the value of the currency? Which is called The thing that we also explained last lesson. See the integration now between last lesson and the consistency between them. Right? Yeah, please.
So hyperinflation, how do you do that?
Too much. Hyperinflation. It's inflation, but too much. Okay? Now listen to this, guys. In addition to the social inequality that was taking actually place in Spain at that time. What do we mean by social inequality? When people felt that they are not being treated fairly in their own country. So look at what happened in Spain at that time. Taxes were imposed on the poor people, while the rich people were not supposed to pay tax, exempted from tax.
It's like the rich be rich.
Exactly. So, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted to say. It means that by time, as long as the poor is supposed to pay tax, so by time the poor is becoming poorer, and the rich who is exempted from paying tax will keep his money, save his money, so the rich will become richer. So the gap between the poor and the rich is going to be high, big. So there will be no middle class. Alright? So this was, Kaman, one of the reasons why later on Spain declined, because people started to rebel. Anyway, another thing, if the Spanish are rich people now because of the wealth that is coming from South America, from Latin America, then if I am rich, then why do I have to work? Reminds me of like 10 years ago when I was teaching in a school in Dubai. I had like one student in grade 5. And he was very lazy. And once I was really upset from him, and then I just asked him, listen, why are you lazy? Why don't you do anything? You don't do any effort. You don't do your homework. You don't do nothing. And then he told me, why should I work hard? I said, don't you want to grow up, go to university, get a certificate? He said, what for? I said, sure, what for? Yeah. Don't you want to find a job, for example, or you are going to work like this kind of like heavy work? He said, no problem. After I finish from here, I'll just go and I'll be the manager of one of my father's companies. And then I'll bring you, Mr. Nadal, and the rest of the teachers to work in my company. So, well, a good mentality. He was very confident. So, the thing is, those people have this mentality, guys. They were rich. If I am rich and I can get everything without effort, why do I have to work? Right? But that was a mistake, because if you still remember, the policy of mercantilism is to make money, okay, and to keep your rivals poor. Remember the example of England and America, how they used to take the cotton and then sell it to their rival France. So they are taking the money of the French while they are adding their own money. So they are becoming richer and they are like making the French even poorer.
If they buy goods to other countries, the rival money will be.
Exactly. So look at the Spanish, what they did. The Spaniards, I mean the Spanish, used to buy goods abroad, making Spain's enemy richer. So they were paying for their enemies to become rich, and they were losing their money. So, as most girls actually crafters were lagging behind, why do we have to be skillful and like working? We are rich, we can buy everything. So, also the king used to borrow money from Italy and Germany, although we were talking about the richest king in the world, but he used to borrow money for what? For financing his wars. You know, a war needs a huge budget. So from a war to another war, from war to another war, money. So in his reign, although we started the lesson talking about the richest country in the world, but we will end this section by talking about how Philip declared bankruptcy 3 times in his reign. So he just explained the work of his country, not to develop his country, not for the sake of his people, not for the sake of progress, but it was only for the sake of himself and to satisfy his right. Now, if your country is occupied, God forbid, by any other country, and you feel upset because you need your independence, but at the end of the day, the country that occupies your country is stronger than your country, so you can't do anything. So when, in your opinion, is the best time to separate?
On the weakest.
When the colonizers started to decline. So as long as the Spanish now are declining, those who were controlled by Spain, like Netherlands, for example, found it the right chance to separate. So the first country to separate was Netherlands, and Netherlands was not only one country, so they separated in a form of different like regions of the provinces, and then they established what was called later on the United Provinces of Netherlands, because it wasn't only one province, it was provinces and united provinces because they were just united together. Now look at this newly established country and how it was different from the rest of the countries in Europe at that time. When there was a huge conflict between Protestants and Catholics around Europe, this country allowed religious toleration. You're free to worship God the way you want. I don't care whether you are Protestants, Catholics, Muslims, non-Muslim, I don't care. This is something that has to do with God. Everybody can actually worship with God the way he or she wants. Each province had an elected government. So we don't have a royal family anymore. Alright? We don't have a royal family. We have an elected person, and who will be elected? Okay, directly from the people, which means pure democracy. Because they had this kind of political stability, so they started to go for their golden age. This is the first time, right? So the Dutch reflected this golden age also in art. Again, I don't care for the way they use or the techniques they use in art, but they had certain features. Rembrandt, for example, and Vermeer. Now, out of a growing rich, they started to trade with other countries until they dominated, let me say, the world trade at that time. So let's read this one. This paragraph is very important. The Dutch merchants engaged in world trade due to the stability of the government, and this stability comes from the religious toleration. Merchants used to buy grain from Poland and keep it in their stores and selling it with high prices during the poor harvest time, which is a policy that lots of the mean merchants are still following till today. Alright, we'll stop here. Time is over.